What's up, peeps? I'm from Group 6 and I'm Margonath M. de la Serna. And I welcome you to Contracts Made Easy. So previously in my videos, I have discussed Articles 1305 and Articles 1306. And now we are going to discuss Articles 1307 to Articles 1310. So first off, we have Article 1307. It provides that innominate contracts shall be regulated by the stipulations of the parties, by the provisions of Titles 1 and 2 of this book, by the rules governing the most analogous nominate contracts, and by the customs of the place. So in my first video, I have mentioned that we have innominate contracts and nominate contracts under the classification of name. Nominate contracts has a name or designation in law, like sale or loan. In other words, the law of sale governs that of the contract of sale. The law of loan governs the contract of loan. But there are contracts that are innominate, which means that it has no name or specific designation in law. So Article 1307 provides the rules that will govern innominate contracts. So, what will govern innominate contracts? So first is the stipulation of the parties. So what they have stipulated is the rule that will govern their innominate contract. Second is the Titles 1 and 2 of this book. This provision simply means that the book that we are now currently learning from, which is the Law on Obligations and Contracts, also governs innominate contracts. So third is the most analogous nominate contracts. So the most similar nominate contract to that of a certain innominate contract will govern that innominate contract. So for example, my innominate contract is very similar to that of a contract of sale. So I will use the rules governing that contract of sale because my innominate contract is very similar to that. And fourth is the customs of the place. So these are contracts which are unique to a place. So we have now kinds of innominate contracts. So first is do ut des, which means I give that you may give. Second is do ut facias, meaning I give that you may do. And third is facto ut des, meaning I do that you may give. And we have the last one, facto ut facias, meaning I do that you may do. However, the first one is do ut des is not already an innominate contract because it has already a given name, which is barter or exchange. So why should there be an innominate contract? So there are two reasons. First, there is an impossibility of anticipating all forms of agreement. And second, there is a progress of man's sociological and economic relationships. So these reasons justify innominate contracts. Therefore, a contract is still considered valid even if it fails to comply strictly to the standards outlined in the Civil Code. It is enough that the contract has the elements that makes a contract valid. So next we have Articles 1308. Article 1308 provides the contract must bind both contracting parties. Its validity or compliance cannot be left to the will of one of them. So in Article 1306, we discuss about the principle of freedom to contract. So here in Article 1308, we will discuss the principle of mutuality of contracts. So as provided, it must bind both contracting parties. So a contract does not exist if it only binds one of the party. Without the bind or equality between the parties, there is no force of law between them. Therefore, if one of a party wants a renouncement, the other party should consent before it is renounced. because a contract has a principle of mutuality, and it has a fundamental rule which states that no party can renounce or violate the law of the contract without the consent of the other. Hence, its validity or compliance cannot be left to the will of one of them. So, for example, Piggy wants to sell his car to Bank. If Piggy wants to set a price for the car, Bank should consent to the price he will set. Piggy should not have the sole discretion or unilateral right to set the price of the car because this will obviously invalidate the contract. Next is we have Article 1309. It states that the determination of the performance may be left to a third person whose decision shall not be binding until it has been made known to both of the contracting parties. So, Article 1309 is an exception to Article 1308. As it stated, it may be left to a third person. So, for an example, Hero wants to sell his ring to Dog. They agreed to seek a jewelry appraiser who is Wolf. Wolf fixed a 50,000 peso price. Wolf then makes it known to both parties to make it valid. And we will discuss the last article in this video, Article 1310. So it states that the determination shall not be obligatory if it is evidently inequitable. In such case, the courts shall decide what is equitable under the circumstances. So this article is a qualification to Article 1309. A third person's determination is not binding when it is evidently inequitable. This happens when the third party acted in bad faith. If that is so, the court should decide what is equitable. So that's all for this video. So stay tuned because we will still discuss Articles 1311 to 1313.